Hello friends, Coinman, welcome everyone. Today we will examine the Hype project where we can open leverage trades without doing KYC or verifying identity information. We will open leverage trades here. As you know, Hype has become quite popular in the crypto costume recently. Friends, why? Because here some whales shorted Ethereum, like 50x Ethereum shorts. They are opening shorts worth $100 million, opening longs. Similarly, $1 million long positions are being opened in Bitcoin. Friends, on this platform. That's why you must be seeing it a lot these days. Now in a moment I will also show you how you can track these whales. And I will show you how to use the Hype leverage trading platform. Additionally, if you want to open leverage trades there, I will leave a registration link below. Let's click on the registration link right away and start introducing the purposes of how we can do leverage trading on the Hype platform. First of all, I want to talk about these things. Why has Hype become so popular? Friends, because there is really a very high volume on the platform. In other words, when you compare it with DividX or other leverage platforms, it has a very high volume. You can open leverage trades in almost any amount you want, friends. The positions opened by the whale that you see on some exchanges. We can even give an 80% rate. We cannot open on exchanges with an 80% rate. Friends, trades of that size. Hype at this point. I really think it has taken leverage trading on DeFi platforms to the next level. It also has its own token called Hype. I am hopeful about this token as well, friends. Now let's all click the link together and start using the Hype platform. By the way, the founder of the Hype platform is Jeff. Follow Jeff as well, friends. He shares great information on Twitter. This guy is really crazy, a very smart guy. I've watched and listened to a lot of his interviews. He's a very unique person, friends. Follow him. Look at the fashion show. When you look at the volumes, you might understand a bit why I introduced Hyperliquidity to you today and why it's necessary to use this platform. Look friends, when we click on per piece from here in Defilema, we see that the highest volume is in Hyperliquidity. I mean, do you see the daily volume, friends? You see that there is a volume of $5 billion. I mean, it's a number like a joke. For example, let's sort by volume on Jupiter, which is in second place, for instance. On Jupiter, which is in second place, there is $600 million. There is $300 million on Apex. Unfortunately, there is a volume of $150 million on DividX. Since the platform is currently very much in the spotlight and very popular, its volume increased as the day went on. Look, for example, if you look at the volumes of the last week, look. Here, for instance, Jupiter in second place has made a volume of 3 billion. DividX has made a volume of 1.1 billion. Hype is 30 billion. Jupiter has made a volume of 3 billion. So, I hope you can understand how much hype there is and how many people are using the project from this. Recently, I mentioned that it is popular. Look, here on the graph, we can see that the volume is gradually increasing. Friends, all together. So, let's go to the Hype website. By the way, I will put the registration link below, friends. Additionally, I want to ask you this. When entering this platform, friends, please bookmark this website in Google Chrome. Save it anywhere, because some of our friends are getting scammed. For example, they type Hype into Google and try to go from there. Don't do that, friends. Save it somewhere. These links. Use the same links. Every time we go, friends. Hive token has also dropped to the $15 levels. Look, I mean, it had reached $35. Currently, it's hovering around the $15 levels. And it gave a big airdrop to its community. I mean, it gave a very solid airdrop. In other words, the process was managed perfectly without any airdrop pressure. And as you can see, it's hovering around the $15 levels. It can be used in Turkey, right? Now, I turned off my VPN in the explanation. From here, we say connect wallet and we can connect and use it with Metamask. Friends, you can open a separate Metamask for this, for yourself. This is entirely up to you. You need to connect your Metamask and give approval to your Metamask. Or you can open a Metamask address for this. For yourself, it's already very simple. When you hover over Metamask, you can add a new account in the account section here. For yourself, friends. So you can open a new account and connect your wallet from here. The reason I'm telling you this, in case your MetaMask gets hacked or something. At least you would have saved this. You can create such a risk section, friends, if you don't know how to use MetaMask, your MetaMask. Otherwise, I'm putting the video up right away. Click here and set up your MetaMask right away, friends. By the way, it doesn't have to be MetaMask. When you click on Icons Egg, you'll see Backback is also available. Backback is a wallet we've been using for a long time anyway. We also have great videos about this. We're expecting an airdrop from there as well. Friends, you can also connect here with your Backback wallet right away. Let's mention this as well. This is quite important. It doesn't matter which wallet you connect with. Friends who connect with any of them, we're waiting. You can choose that one. I have connected my wallet right now to this website. So what do we do after connecting our wallet? Here, we need to open and activate our trade operations. Friends, For this, I press Enable Trade. I select Establish from here. It says Confirm Wallet, sending signature approvals to my wallet. I approve these. Look, I need to deposit on the Arbitrum network. Of course, it's available on the Bitcoin network. We prefer Arbitrum because there is a fee on the Bitcoin network. There is a much lower fee. For example, since I currently have no money on the Arbitrum network, it automatically detected this. For instance, I'm entering my wallet on the Arbitrum network. Friends, let's see. Since there is no USDC, here you see it shows 0, you need to have USDC on the Arbitrum network. Friends, in your Metamask or your backpack. Now, how do you do this? You can immediately copy your Metamask address from any exchange you use and send it. Friends, for example, I will now send it with Binance TR. I came to the Binance TR exchange. Friends, I press the withdraw button. Look, I select crypto from here. From here, you need to send whatever is missing in your Metamask. Look, I currently have Ethereum in my Metamask. I can already use this network. There is no arbitration. I don't have USDC. If I want, I can send to USDC. If I want, friends, I can send Ethereum and convert some of it to USDC. You can do whichever is suitable for you. Now I want to show you the withdrawal process from Binance to you. Whichever is suitable for you. If you want to send Ethereum, you select Ethereum. Look, the Arbitrum 1 network has appeared. Look, friends, I already want to show this. You need to enter your Metamask address here for Arbitrum 1. This is my Metamask address. I pasted the Metamask address like this. In the amount section, you write how many Ethereum you want to send, and it varies depending on how many dollars you want to send to the platform. From here, friends, we can proceed. Friends, you can also send USDC directly. As I said, it's entirely up to you. Look, there is USDC. You select USDC here, then select Arbitrum 1, and again enter your Metamask address here. You can write that you want to send USDC and proceed directly, friends. Scroll down, press the send button, and I send it with my Metamask. I sent USDC to my Metamask in such a simple way. Friends. Yes, friends, now I sent it as USDC because I already have Ethereum. If you send Ethereum, you can come here and press the swap button to convert your Ethereum to USDC. When you send 0.01, you swap about 0.095, which makes approximately $190 or so. You can directly use Metamask to swap from here. If you send Ethereum, now, I made my withdrawal from Binance. It arrived. Now I'm closing it. I'm going to the Hype platform. Look, I had connected my wallet here. I needed to press Enable Trade and proceed here. Arbitrum is selected. Look, now my 200 USDC is visible here. Friends, I'm pressing the deposit button. Again, a confirmation comes to my wallet. I immediately confirm it from here. While waiting for our money to arrive, look here at the stake. I want to show you in this section, by staking Hype TR, you can increase your level. And at the same time, you get more commission discounts. There are some commissions when opening and closing trades, even if these exist. Now let me check my balance here to see what happened. Look, it says spot in the transfer, friends. Let's click like this. Currently, I have $200 that I can use for perp stake. I can spot it if I want. Look, let me say confirm like this. Again to my Metamask. A notification came, I confirmed it. Look, it appears here in the balance section, friends. Look where my $200 are. Now you can perform SFE transactions from spot back to perp. I am pressing the confirm button like this. Now I will show this in a moment. Now let's go to trade directly. Look, we currently have $200 for us to perform trade transactions here. Now when you come to this screen, it's like a stock exchange. Even think of the best exchanges. You feel like you are directly on those exchanges. This screen seems very familiar to us, like a well-known screen. I need to mention this on the Hype platform. Here, as you have seen before, we already moved from spot to futures and back from futures to spot. There are both spot transactions. So, look, I am currently in spot transactions. I can directly buy $100 worth of Hype coin for myself from here. Look, it says buy sell. I can directly buy Hype tokens from the market or with my limit. So I can buy coins from spot in a normal way, like an exchange or a wallet. The same bed. Look, there are perps here. Coins that are on exchanges or known coins, popular coins. There are quite a few on the Coinpeps platform. Friends, and one of the nice aspects of this is the following. Look, for example, we can open a 40x trade on Bitcoin. Friends, we can open trades up to 40x. You can adjust it with as much of your portfolio as you want. Now let's do this. Let's open a trade on Ethereum, for example, friends. First, just like how there is cross on cryptocurrency exchanges, isn't there also isolated friends in cross? If you have $1,000, even if you open a $200 trade, you use your $1,000. When you open an isolated position, if you have $1,000 and open a $200 position, you only use your $200. If it becomes liquid, your $200 becomes liquid, but if you open a closed trade, it's for $200. The likelihood of becoming liquid decreases, but if you do become liquid, you lose your $1,000. I usually use close. I already adjust myself accordingly. Friends, you can also use isolated. How many X do you want to open? You come here and open the X. In other words, you adjust the leverage, friends. After setting the leverage, come this way. Since I'm opening it just to show you, a 10x leverage is quite nice. If I open with all of my $200, I can place an order of approximately 0.9 Ethereum, which is $2,000, at 10x leverage, friends. After all, 200 times 10 makes $2,000. So in exchange for this $2,000, if Ethereum moves 10% in the opposite direction of the position I open with 10x leverage, I lose all my money. By the way, let's mention that because I'm opening with 100%. If I open with half of my money, even if it were in isolated mode, I would lose all my money with a 10% adverse movement. But because it's a cross position and I'm opening with half of my money, a 10% movement won't liquidate me right now. Yes, these are cryptocurrency, futures trading information. Let's not focus too much on these in this video. We shouldn't focus on using this platform. Come on. Now I will open a 100% position. I have 200 leverage, limit order. Look, buy long, sell short. We open long positions when we think it will rise. And we open short positions when we think it will fall, friends. As for Ethereum, right now, I want to open a long position because I think it will rise. Yes, by the way, the chart here works very well. Charts like those from TradingView work directly. I will enter a long position on Ethereum because I expect a rise, even if it's very small. I'm opening it in this video to show you. These transactions only. Now I'm coming here. I see that the limit order is currently at 2043. The price. Look, 2043.5, I'm writing it here. I want to open it with half of my money, so I want to open it with $100. Yes. Now there is take profit stop loss here. You can set take profit or stop loss orders for yourself even before opening your position. Friends, for example, I think it will rise. I say it will be 2100, for instance, today, or I say it will be 2099. If I come to take profit and write 2099, it will close my position when it reaches 2099. Friends, if I say close, if it falls below 2000, I say close. If it falls below 2001 as well. Look, at a 27% profit, our position will close. At a 20% loss, my position will stop, friends. So it will close again. Now let's move on. Let's open our position. I press the speed place order button from here. I say buy long. Since my limit order is 2043.5, my order will be opened when it reaches 2043.5. And let's go to open orders. Look, it has come to position. Friends, and 2 orders have come to the open order section. What are these orders? Look, it's my order to close my long position. Close long order. One is the take profit order. The other is the stop loss order, friends. I have 2 orders here. These are the orders we just entered over there. Yes, it's a very nice, successful, and easy platform. I think it's very important in crypto because we are people who work intensely and under a lot of stress. Assistant interfaces on such platforms can save our lives. Yes. Now, opening a position was this easy. We opened a long position. Now let's open a short position as well if you want. For example, let's make it Bitcoin. We want to try a very instant short position. It arrived right here. With what percentage of your portfolio do you want to open a position? For example, you can open with 10%. Friends, we had $200. We opened a $100 position and we have $100 left for Ethereum. We have $100 right now. For example, I want to open a position with 10% of my portfolio. Look, it already says it right here. I'm opening a position worth $9.8 or $10. For example, with this, I want to open with 50%. I will open a $50 position, friends. If you think Bitcoin will drop instantly, you will open a short. You can open it directly from the market instantly. Now let's show the market. Let's set take profit and stop loss again. Or let's open it directly without setting them, just to show that as well. I'm turning off take profit and stop loss. I'm saying Bitcoin short. I'm saying it will drop instantly now. I'm saying place order. Mine is directly below. If you enter from here, it tells you my liquidation point. It tells the total size of my order and says you will open this with a $50, meaning an $8 margin. Yes, I'm pressing the price order button, friends. Yes, Bitcoin is currently at the 84,520 levels. And then this ambition took over me. Let's shrink our chart a lot. Because we are opening a trade to show you instantly, let's adjust our chart accordingly. Look, now will directly come to open orders because we gave the order to open Bitcoin instantly, friends. And I'm opening these to show you. We opened it to show you how to use the platform. Bitcoin market. We said it entered from my order. We didn't give any order. Entered at 84,520, friends. And currently the price is 84,488. There is a very small amount of profit. We opened small amounts just to show you anyway. By the way, we opened our Ethereum position at 10x. We opened our Bitcoin position at 20x. Our Bitcoin position entered at 84,520. Currently it's 84,473. To share the value of these positions, look, when you click on this, it shows you the profit and loss amounts like this. Friends, you can share these on Twitter and such. Bitcoins, we hadn't set a take profit or stop loss when opening our position. Now you can set these. Look, you click here. I will say take profit at 84,300 because this is a decline. In the position, in the short position, the stop loss is 84,700. I will say stop if it rises to 84,700. Now, if it drops to 84,300, I will earn $2.5. If it rises to 84,700, I will lose $2. What up, friends? I press the confirm button from here. Look, it says order submitting. Now we have 4 orders in our open order. So now, we have stop loss and take profit orders for Bitcoin as well. Not like this. You want to close it directly. You opened the position. You suddenly made a lot of money, or you waited. You waited for about a day. You waited for 2 days. You've made a lot of money now. You want to close your position? You came, look, instead of here positions. Here, friends, look, there is a close button. There is funding. There is margin. It says close all. When I click on close all, both will close. Or when I click on the market or limit under the Bitcoin section of close, Bitcoin will close. Only. Now I press the close button from the market for Bitcoin. Look, it asks you, how much do you want to close? It asks, I want to close 100% of the position. I said market close. Look, it will close this immediately. Yes, it closed directly. Bitcoin position. Now when I go to Trade Story, I can see that I opened a Bitcoin position, opened a short, and closed the short. I can also see the fees I paid. I can see the details clearly, friends. We can see how much we earned in total from here. Earned 0.25. Let's go back to the position again. Look, we opened a long on Ethereum, but it dropped. We are at a loss. We already have a stop loss order. Let's go to open order and quickly check where our stop loss order is. If it falls below 2001, it will stop loss on Ethereum. Let's come back to Ethereum again. It has dropped to 2038. We entered at 2043. Yes, friends. You can enter with 10x leverage, 20x, or even 25x. You can also enter with 2x leverage. Let's show it like this. When you set this to 2x and confirm, you can also enter with 2x leverage. So you are opening a trade with only twice the amount of your money. Here, a 50% adverse movement. For example, you opened a 2x position. If it rises by 50%, your money doubles. If it falls by 50%, you lose your money in isolated mode. If you open in cross mode, it changes according to your main budget. Friends. Now, how simple is it to use the platform? I wanted to show you this. The Play platform is very nice. There are a lot of coins. I wanted to show these. In the PEP section, there are really quite a few coins. Friends, I'm scrolling down like this. You can also go and see which coins you want to trade here. If it's available here, you can use this. Why? Because the volumes are quite nice. The fees are quite nice. As far as I can see right now, there is also a spot section. Spot transactions are for buying and selling coins. You can show it in the spot section. For example, Solvider is listed. I was surprised to see this. Exactly, they have made it in the category here. For example, AI projects. These are artificial intelligence projects. Here are the DeFi projects. If you want to open a transaction on these, gaming, these are game projects. Here are layer 1, layer 2 meme coins. There are many coins available for you to open transactions in this way. Friends, I have already left the registration link below. You can directly register on the platform using that registration link and then make your deposit transactions in this way to log into the platform. Now, you've opened a lot of transactions. You click on the portfolio and you see that your USDC is pub-s in the balance section here. In the position section, you can see your open positions. In the open order section, you can see your open orders, and in the trade section, you can see your history. You can see your order history, deposits, withdrawals, everything. Friends, look at the daily increase or decrease amounts of the balance in your account. I deposited $200 and $197 are left. Since I am currently at a loss, for example, if you click on this, you only see the leverage, spots, and everything in the currency. They have made a nice platform. That's why I liked it quite a lot. Again, when you want to deposit money into the platform, you come here and say deposit friends, or you come here and say deposit. You also want to withdraw money from the platform. For example, this is a question that will come up a lot. You got it, you made good money here, or you incurred a loss. It is uncertain. You came here and now you want to withdraw your money. You came, friends, and pressed the withdraw button here. Our chain is Arbitrum. From here, you press how many dollars you want to withdraw, but look, I couldn't perform the withdrawal process right now. Why couldn't I do it? Because it tells me. It says the money to be spotted from Fusetown is not visible right now. It says no, because I opened a cross trade instead of an isolated one. In other words, I opened a trade where I could use all the money. Friends, that's why I can't transfer the money right now. But I can transfer it as soon as I close this position. Now you can also close this position with a limit order. You can come here directly, close 100% of it, and incur a 1.37 loss. I can close this directly right now, friends. Let me press the close button like this. Look, I'm sure there's a dot at the top like this. Yes, look, I no longer have an open position. Now, what do we do after closing the position? Friends, we come here, we've closed the position now. I click on the transfer button, that is, on the withdraw option from the portfolio. I say withdraw. Arbitrum is already selected. I click on max. Currently, the money is in our perpetual account without leverage. When I press the withdraw Arbitrum button, look, it sends a signature to my wallet again. Once I approve, it will transfer all the money back to my wallet, friends. And here, look, it gives us some information. The USDC withdrawal fee is $1, and it will be transferred to our wallet within 5 minutes. Yes, I won't be withdrawing it right now anyway. I will use this actively. Yes, friends, today we saw how we can perform transactions on the Hyperliquid platform without KYC processes, without identity verification. We saw how to deposit our money directly from Metamask and how to withdraw it back to Metamask. Now, as you know, there is a popularity here that has made it a phenomenon recently. Friends, here, whale wallets are thought to be very large in size. Now there are those who say it's for money laundering. There are those who say they take the money they stole, etc. So no matter what they say about it, these people have been quite successful. Some of them. The extent of their exploits is also noteworthy. How can you track these? Now I will show you this. Look, there is a leaderboard here, friends. When you click on the leaderboard, you can see the people who have earned the most money on the platform. Now I selected all time from here. For example, look at the leaderboard. P&L, for instance, this is the section for the highest earnings. You expanded this section. Friends, the person. We see that he earned $87 million or $76 million. For example, a person earned $66 million and named himself Thank You CFF did. In other words, he made a reference to the platform's CEO co-founder, CFF. He referred to it as Tanku from here. You see it this way, meaning you see how very large wallets are making volumes here. Friends, earning in crypto is not that easy. When you take the opposite of this, look, you see that the person lost $25 million, $17 million like this. Let's go down. So you see that there are also people who have incurred quite a loss. Friends. Now look, I will show you something else here. Look, there is a wallet starting with 0xF3. There was a rumor on Twitter about this. It opened transactions from Melania and made a profit of $9.7 million. Friends, it even named itself Melania. Look, even someone on Twitter said, I'm the owner of this. Rumors are quite rampant on the platform, friends. Now look, when we enter this wallet, there is about $600,000 in it. This is quite a withdrawn amount right now. There were millions of dollars in this wallet. Friends, look at the man's. This is the user's place. This is actually a good thing. For example, you can directly follow wallets by entering here. When you write on the leaderboard, you can see the orders the person has made, the place orders. Look, it even shows us up to the block number here. In crypto, when such things happen, many people follow them. They try to make money from these. Crypto is such an open place, a place where everyone can see. Because now finally, we have provided this information as well. For example, you are following a wallet. You can come here, paste the wallet address, and directly go here to follow the transactions, or if you trust these whales a lot, you can open the transactions they have opened. I hope it has been a useful video. Friends, there are many questions about the hype. How can we open transactions without identity verification, without registration? Teacher, is this real? There were friends asking this. You can open your transactions from here and send them to your Metamask. If you want to withdraw to TL from Metamask, how would you do it? That's up to you. We also have those videos, or you want to keep multiplying your money there. So you are not really thinking about withdrawing to TL. This is how these transactions can be done. Friends, I hope it has been a useful video. Please don't forget to like this video. Friends, don't forget to follow us for this and similar informative videos. Stay healthy. Goodbye.